everyone, and welcome to the 131st episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson. Here we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense, Harry Potter's sums. With me as always is my friend, co-host, and very appropriately, I would say, the Ron Weasley to my Harry Potter, Frederick.
In that you've got many scars and that I've got a flying car.
I was thinking more in that I'm the protagonist and the very likable and understood main character, and you're his goofy ginger sidekick, who is largely, as we'll discuss, useless.
I see. I mean, again, probably very accurate then. Wait, who gets with? Is it Hermione or does Ron get with Hermione or does Harry?
He does, but that's I don't want to. We don't have to talk about.
I don't want to talk politics.
So today, because we are having to record this a bit in advance, this is on Thursday, April 7th. We're not doing any mini reviews. We're not doing any news. We're just doing
mini reviews.
A topic. It is I mean, we've been spoiling you guys with mini reviews and news lately.
Exactly.
So it's about time.
You've asked for too much.
Because Freddie's going to Spain, I believe, next week. And
you are correct.
I'm going to Denmark next week, so it would be a little inconvenient.
We are traversing men.
Some could call us Tom Holland in the film Uncharted.
Some could. I think you're very much the Markimu to my Tom Holland, in that you're slightly older and fatter, but also more
doesn't have a percentage of body fat. He has negative body fat. His body fat is taken into his system. Anyway, I got weirdly passionate there. So we're just going to do a topic. And what better time to talk about some Harry Potter films than the week of the release of Fantastical Beasticles, Dumbledore's...
Fantastical Testicles, Dumbledore's jerking.
Dumbledore the Secret, you know? So...
Victorious Dumbledore.
So this week, or I guess the week this is coming out, the latest Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts is coming out. And, I thought we'd go through the series, all 10 films at this point, and do a little discussion of what we think. So, you have a middling knowledge of the Harry Potter films, it's safe to say?
I would say I've got a below-average Harry Potter knowledge, I'd say. Wait, sorry, did you say we're going through all the Harry Potter movies and the Fantastical Testicles?
I mean, I guess we've already touched a lot. I shouldn't say we've touched a lot on the Fantastical Testicles, but we have already talked a lot about the Newt Scamander adventures. So I think we can very briefly just spelunk along those. But
God, you are using some terrible wordage. For
I know.
I'm gonna spelunk along the Fantastical Testicles with Newt Salamander Scamander.
I would like to specify that you started saying Fantastical Testicles. I said Fantastical Beasticles. All right, I was just going with it, but now that you've claimed it on me, I have to point out that was your doing. But yeah, so I am, as the listeners may know, a huge Harry Potter fan. As a child growing up, it was my favorite franchise. I loved the books. I had them read to me as a child. I read them again in later life as a slightly older child. I loved the films. I saw them.
Slightly older.
We had the DVDs when they came on TV in the summer. We'd always marathon them and saw the last couple in the cinema. I'm just a huge fan. Not as much anymore. Like, I haven't read the books in a while. I haven't seen the films in a while. But whenever they're on, it's always a good time. And
I mean, I really like the world of Harry Potter, but I just never really gotten into it. Like, I've seen the first 3 movies, I want to say.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a good episode then.
First 3 movies, maybe 4, but I wasn't paying much attention to them either. Like, I'm sure I fell asleep throughout a lot of it, not because they're bad, but just because,
You're just a sleepy boy. You fall asleep in Morbius. You fell asleep in Uncharted, I think, maybe? It's truly poorly planned fashion that's how this is going to go. So it'll be a lot of me explaining what happens and you probably going, well, that's kind of dumb.
That doesn't sound like Harry at all.
That sounds so out of character for Mr. Weasley, Daddy Weasley. Full name, Mr. Weasley, Daddy Weasley. It says it on his business card.
On his passport. So where are you flying to, Mr. Weasley, Daddy Weasley? Your mama's house.
It's a great Mr. Weasley impression, honestly.
Right?
He's definitely not a guy who chooses bacon ferociously and goes, so tell me, Harry, what is the function of a rubber duck? That's a classic line in the film.
I think this episode will just paint you as a huge loser.
Yeah, as opposed to the other 130 episodes of our film podcast, which painted me as a really cool dude. Anyway, let's start off with
terrible self-deprecation.
Huge self-esteem issues. Let's start off with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Fun fact, in America land, it's called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Why do you think that is?
Do you know this, or is this just an open question to the
I mean, it's more of an open question, but I think, I vaguely remember reading. I mean, I think the reason is they thought that American audiences wouldn't know what a philosopher is.
Damn, that's kind of
pretty harsh.
That's a little harsh, but at the same time...
what is a philosopher?
At the same time, what is a sorcerer?
Yeah, is a sorcerer a more easily understood thing than a philosopher? I guess because sorcerer is more magic.
I guess it's for kids. I guess philosophers are
boring
assholes.
Sorcerers who I have to answer questions about on the test tomorrow. So instead I'm here podcasting when I should be studying. Anyway, more horrible personal issues aside. So you have seen this one.
Yes.
This one is definitely more for kids than the later ones. It starts off as a very, much like the books, starts off as a very kind of kid franchise. It's
very like, everyone's in awe of this new world.
Yeah, and it's colorful.
Well, I guess that's kind of like, and I mean, we'll get to this, but I guess that's kind of like the charm with it, where it's like you start off watching these movies as kids, and then as the story progresses, so does the audience, and then gets more Grindelwald.
Whew, Mads Mikkelsen.
It gets more Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most unique things about the Harry Potter series that is something that, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that other franchises that have tried to replicate Harry Potter have not gotten right or like the same. But what was so perfect about it that even the MCU with its like big franchising hasn't really been able to do is you start watching it as a kid, and the films, not only like you grow up with the characters as they age, but the film's tone, the film's visual style, the themes, everything grows up progressively with it.
Yeah.
Not just like story-wise, which is also interesting, where, of course they start as kids, then they start, they go through puberty, they have romances and stuff, and then they end up being just depressed adults, as we all do. but yeah, visually.
I've got a philosophy test tomorrow.
It's a Greek and Roman test, just for the record, but whatever. I don't take philosophy like a fucking nerd. I take Greek and Roman. Thank you very much. Greek and Roman culture, not the language. Anyway, the world is very... It does a good job of showing it through this perspective of like this kid who would have never, who doesn't know magic exists, and then it's like very colorful and it's this crazy, whimsical. I think, generally it's probably one of the best film worlds, like along with Lord of the Rings and maybe perhaps Star Wars.
Yeah. Perhaps Captain Fantastic.
Maybe a tiny dabbling of Morbius in there.
Best cinema
best film world where the whole thing was on a fucking green screen. But it does a great job of like bringing you into that whimsical world and all this. I don't know. Yeah, I mean the books did as well, but like building up, it just feels like a real world, like a lived-in world. And it's let's talk casting. It has besides the kids, it has like an all-star British galore-a-thon, as the casting call is put out.
We're looking to create an all-star British galore. Can we get Dame Judi Dench on that one?
She's actually not in it. Yeah, they're missing Judi Dench and Michael Caine, but besides that, they have like all the big old British
Ian
actors.
McKellen in it?
Okay, fine, not Ian McKellen. I think he was supposed to be.
Is Sir Patrick Stewart in it?
All right, fine. I guess I'll go fuck myself. Is that how this episode's gonna go? Intense rage takes over. This is an emotional episode.
But there's a lot of issues coming out this episode.
But we have, let me just see. We have Maggie Smith. We have Robbie Coltrane. We have Alan Rickman. We have Richard Griffiths, John Cleese, Warwick Davis, who we enjoy.
Warwick Davis.
From the Honest trailer back in the day. I remember that was one of our first like running jokes. I remember when I got you a birthday present like 7 years ago.
Warwick Davis.
I were like, from Warwick Davis. Yeah, a great cast, and it helps give it this kind of feeling of, I don't know, you feel like that kind of
live.
like that sort of, kid first day of school kind of thing. It's all kind of exciting, but it's a bit intimidating, and all this kind of stuff in this world. The kids aren't great, obviously, because like they're child actors, but they're still pretty good. I think it's also remarkable that they all grew up to be pretty normal, and no one like
I thought Ron Weasley was a very weird dude in real life, isn't he?
No, I think he just runs a hot dog stand or something now.
As any normal man does.
I don't know. He was in a movie recently, I think. He was in that, we talked about the Harry Potter special. He was sort of a little bit of a... Well, he kind of got trampled over a little bit in that one, which was a little sad.
It was such a magical moment when we kissed. Yeah, that was the worst moment of my life, Ron.
It's a fun movie. I love it because I also grew up with it. I've seen it like hundreds of times. Not hundreds of times, but dozens of times. And
I've watched that movie thousands fold.
It certainly is a little, kids movie-ish, a little silly. But I think it builds that world perfectly. It's a great introduction. It's a great story, obviously. I mean, there's a reason those books were so popular. And it's a fun, heartfelt time. I really, really enjoy it. And it draws you into the world. I think, do you remember at the end he melts the Snake Man's face with his hands? The guy has a turban, and it turns out on the back of the turban is Voldemort. And then he touches him and he turns to dust.
Oh, right.
I don't know. Dumbledore's like, it's because you have love. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like he just melted a man. Like he literally disintegrated
I don't know. He just committed terrible murder.
That's what we call a homicide, Dumbledore. I don't know.
Dumbledore, please, you need to wake up from this weird fever dream you're having.
I mean,
Harry Potter, age 10, killed a man.
It is like a very, this has been brought up a lot, but it is the most dangerous school. I mean, like, changing staircases. You know how many kids would die? I'm just saying, like, that would be so easy. They're carrying
around... That is right down Lawsuit Alley, I'll tell you.
My old school used to be next to, like... It had, like, a body of water next to it, and there wasn't, like, a fence around it. And I was thinking, like, how many kids fall in that water every year? Like, I bike past this every day. It's icy sometimes. I could fall in that water.
Didn't one of your teachers fall in that water?
We don't have to get into that. And then, like, all the kids have wands. Like, wands can... I don't know. I think the Weekly Planet brought something like this. Wands are like, those are crazy.
I've never seen more wonder in your eyes. And all the kids have wands. Like, that's amazing.
I think the Weekly Planet brought this up, but it's basically like giving every kid in a school a gun.
A knife?
It's like they literally can kill people. They can like take over people's minds.
Could they not? I forget. Is it Avada Kedavra?
Yeah.
Can they say that? Or do you need, like, the power?
Well, they learn it in, like, their third year, which, again, is, like, learning how to shoot a gun in school when you're, like, 13, which I guess they probably do somewhere. There's a big three-headed dog, which, again, probably shouldn't keep in the school. Also, I like how Dumbledore's like, don't go on this floor if you don't want to meet a certain death. It's like, you're talking to a bunch of 11-year-olds. They're going to be like, that sounds crazy. I want to check that out. Be like, there's a three-headed dog, and it will literally rip all your limbs off. Don't check it out. I feel like that would be more...
It's not a Schwepping moment, as Dumbledore would say.
This will not make for an epic TikTok. It will dismember you.
Imagine that in this, like, 2001 movie. That Albus Dumbledore just sitting there, like, very wise, and all of a sudden... That is not a YOLO swag time, guys. There's like, old man voice. I would not dab on that one.
But beware. Gangnam Style. Sorry, I don't know that.
You sound like the oldest man ever. But beware. A song from 10 years ago.
Harlem Shake. Dumbledore just gets on table. This is a terrible podcast.
Oh my god. What an absolute horror movie moment. That Dumbledore leans in hella close to Harry's face. Beware. The Harlem Shake, and then this music just starts playing. Dumbledore absolutely shakes it.
But no one else knows what's going on. It's only in his head.
He's the only one who can hear the music. Beware the Harlem Shake, and then just in silence.
He just runs up and down the Great Hall. I mean, I think the Dumbledore in this movie...
Beard just flying by his side.
He doesn't even dance. He's just doing laps. I think that because you know how they have two Dumbledores because the first one passed away after the second film. I think he works quite well for the like child like the kids movie vibes of the first one. Because the second Dumbledore, which we'll get to, he's so mean. he's like, he's not like a good dude. Like, I don't want to be around him. Like, this Dumbledore, he seems kind of like he's, not really with it. Like, he doesn't seem like he really gets what's going on. But he has more of the vibe of the Dumbledore from the
That is the greatest description of Dumbledore I've ever heard.
He's meant to be this, like, whimsical, like, sort of goofy
wise
guy.
old wizard, and then he's just completely lost.
But he seems, I don't know, but he also, like, is super powerful and, like, can, like, do shit when he has to. And, like, the first one seems a little too whimsical and, like, kind of weird, and the second one seems too angry. And he's like, the part where he's like, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" Do you remember that part? It's a great part.
I've heard all the memes of it. Like, where in the book it's like he calmly asks,
and then he basically chokes out Harry in the movie. Anyway, first movie, I really enjoyed. I get it's a little silly, and maybe some of the CGI doesn't hold up. It's a very wholesome, iconic, fun film, and I love it. The second one, The Chamber of Secrets, I hold a little less fondness for.
Is that the one with the big ass snake in the room?
Yeah, and there's a big spider. Hagrid sends the kids off to meet a big spider, and it's like, Hagrid, why the fuck would you do that? That's terrifying. Like, all these
big Hagrid moments.
So many children must die in this school. Like, hundreds. Like, literally 80% of the, like, student population.
It's a 95 mortality rate.
It's like the Hunger Games, just going to this fucking school. Imagine having a school where just on the grounds there's a thing called the Forbidden Forest. It's like, get rid of that shit. Keep that away. Put a spell around it. Like, don't let the kids go in there.
Hagrid, do a spell, sir. Can I just say, Quidditch seems like the least safe sport ever.
Yeah.
What if they just let go of the broomstick and fall, like, literally just plummet to their death? That'd be such an awkward paperwork for Dumbledore. So what happened to Mr. Potter? He fell 600 meters out of the air off a broomstick.
As we were all cheering.
As we were all cheering him chasing a golden ball. That sounds like something that's not real.
Also, well, it's not, but also, that sounds like a fictional occurrence. Also,
I do not believe broomsticks could fly in real life, just saying.
In Quidditch, there's also a big element of the game, is there are just two, like metal balls that just fly through the air and try to kill you. And, like, it's one of, like, there are two team members who have to, like, hit them away. But it's like, if you just get hit in the face with that, that's a concussion. Say goodbye to your teeth, Harry.
Harry, you'll be eating soup for months now.
I mean, in this movie, he does shatter his arm from playing Quidditch, and Poirot does come in, and he's like, wait a minute, I got this. And then he literally removes the bone from his arm accidentally. It's pretty good scene.
And he literally just cuts his arm off.
Hold up, I got this. Bites arm off? Savagely.
Runs away. He's a cannibal.
I will say...
Can I just say... whilst we're on the Quidditch subject, and I apologize to anyone who does this in real life.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Playing Quidditch in real life.
You're on the frisbee team, my guy. I'm gonna be part of the dodgeball society next year. Let's not throw stones. We are in the glassest of houses.
I am just saying that. Okay, I'm not counting on the sport. I'm just saying how it looks from my perspective, because my university's Quidditch team were not seen as a proper club, so they got sent to the carrot field where they go carrots. Sounds like Quidditch. And I saw them one day, and they were wearing capes, and they were just running around on these broomsticks. It was very funny. And then the next day, they plowed the field, and they couldn't use it anymore.
I have to say, they got sent to the carrot field. Sounds like such a horrible punishment. I'll be honest, I don't know how you would play Quidditch in real life. The whole point seems that you're flying, and the balls are flying, and, like, literally... I don't get it.
Who's what's the chase called? The chaser. He's the
seeker.
The seeker.
Yeah.
Who's the seeker? And what's flying around?
Yeah. What do you seek? Does someone dress up as the snitch? Maybe.
Ooh.
Anyway.
No, that couldn't be.
Anyway, in this movie, I think Kenneth Branagh is probably the best part. He's very funny as this, like, complete idiot, like, this narcissistic moron who's, like, accidentally gotten himself into this by, like, conning everyone or whatever. It's like, it's not accidentally, but yeah, he's great. And, I mean, it's still a good movie. It's just, I think it's probably how most people view the first one, because I have a lot of nostalgia for the first one. And the second one is a lot like it. Like, it's similar tone, similar vibe. I just didn't really watch it as much growing up. It's a little spookier. I mean, big spider, big snake.
Big snake.
And there's like a diary that you write in, and it's like you talk to Tom Riddle, and then Tom Riddle's like, I'm Lord Voldemort.
Why is Tom Riddle Voldemort, and what's the name change there about? What's all that about?
Just because Tom Riddle's a pretty lame fucking supervillain name. Like Lord Voldemort.
Here comes Tom Riddle.
Yeah, no one would be shivering their timbers, as opposed to when they hear Lord Voldemort and then Dumbledore runs out of the room hysterically.
Unrelated.
Yeah. He really seems insane in these first two movies. I'm not gonna lie. He seems like he doesn't know what's going on. It's like there's being like whimsical and fun, then there's just being like straight up not present in the moment. There's Dobby in the second one, the cute little house elf.
I have to say, Dobby annoyed me a little bit.
I like Dobby. He's so cute.
He's cute, but it's more like no, and then he like gets really loud and like reveals everyone's like fucking position and stuff like that. It's like, Dobby, shut up. What are you doing?
I don't really remember. I guess. What do you think of the Dursleys? The horrible people he lives with. I mean, I think they're a great representation of what they are in the book. Like these cartoonishly awful. Yeah. Like they're exactly how I pictured them in the book. Second movie, it's a little bit longer, it's a little bit more poorly paced, but still solid. I mean, I don't think any of these movies are bad, to be honest. Still like a good, fun kids movie. The third one, The Prisoner of Azkaban, definitely my favorite. I think it's most people's favorite.
Is that the one with Professor Lupin?
It is. Your boy, Snively McSnivelfuck from Wonder Woman. You remember him?
Snively McSnivelfuck.
Famed DC character. What's his name, the actor? Mustache. Fuck. Sorry, I say fuck too much. Sorry. What's his name? We talked about him.
You look genuinely so disgusted with yourself. I say fuck so much. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
We talked about him in the DC Villains episode. What's he called?
The guy. Professor Mustachio.
No, the actor's name.
Thulus.
Thulus. Our boy Thulus. Yeah, our boy Thulus. Who plays the coolest of professors, who then also turns out to be a vampire.
No.
Sorry, werewolf.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
Professor Lupin. Professor Wolf.
The famed Morbius-esque vampire. This one's great. It's the first one that took a bit of a darker twist on it. It's they went away from Christopher Columbus or Chris Columbus, I guess, and went to Alfonso Cuarón, who is a great director of things. Well, yeah. It's I don't know. It has this weird gothic vibe to it that I feel like really fits.
What's the guy called with the long black hair?
Snape.
No. The guy who makes an appearance in this one that like saved Harry Potter's dad or something like that.
Long black hair. Oh, Sirius Black.
Sirius Black.
Gary Oldman.
Or Gary new woman playing Jovial White.
Yes, although I feel like calling that character Jovial White has some kind of like weird racial connotation that I'm not comfortable with. So I hope people don't take that out of context. It's a terrible name pun, just to be clear. What
do you mean terrible?
But one could say serious. Sorry, not what a joke.
Nice. Fuck. My name's Sirius. Sorry.
No, he's great. I will say, having rewatched it and having this pointed out to me, it is a little bit weird how he acts not how you would act at all. Like, because the twist is they think he's this horrible murderer, and the twist is he's Harry's godfather and he's so nice. But he shows up acting like the most horrible murderer. Like, he shows up and they keep saying things that no one would actually say. They're like, we should kill him. And they're talking about the rat, but everyone thinks he's talking about Harry. And it's like, you would never say, like, and like he looks so horribly like dirty and terrible, and then as soon as like he's revealed he's a good guy, he looks like just the nicest little angel. Gary Oldman man. Like, it's like I don't know, that part's a little goofy, but
does Gary Oldman dies in this one, right?
No, he dies 2 movies from now. But that aside,
he gets injured in this one then.
He gets injured in all of them, I think. I mean, he gets his soul sucked in this one by the Dementors. Shut up. The Dementors.
Lucky Gary.
I should have known there would be some kind of joke if I talked about soul sucking. The Dementors are...
You literally looked me dead in the eyes and said, he gets his soul sucked in this one.
The Dementors, terrifying, horrible monsters that...
Yeah, very, very much like the riders in Lord of the Rings, the like black hooded ones.
Yeah, but also they just do worse shit. Like literally, just their presence makes people sad. They're kind of the magic equivalent of Frederick.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah. But they also like everything becomes cold. Like they were like, I lost all hope, and I felt like I'd never be warm again. It's like Jesus.
No, it is. That is what people tell me as well.
Whenever someone turns on this podcast and you start talking, they're like, and then I thought I'd never see my mother again. Yeah, no, good stuff. Good action, crazy action scene at the end. There's time travel and all this crazy shit, and there's good twists, and that whole sequence is crazy where they go back and they realize it was Harry who saved them all along. Also, spoilers for all these movies, but come on, it's Harry Potter. Come on, you know what happens.
Who's not seen that at this point?
Except for you.
Yeah,
big meme.
I've seen. I think this is the last one I've seen. I haven't seen any other ones.
No, yeah, it's good. I'm trying to think. Snape's great. I love Snape. Big Snape fan. I think Snape was right the whole time. Harry is a little stupid kid who should, like, he's up to no good.
Yeah.
There's one part in the later films where Harry references Snape's unusually large nose, and I was like, that's kind of, ooh, as someone with some could argue, unusually large nose, I felt personally attacked by that Harry, but
and ever since then, me and Snape have been best friends. Hashtag nose bros.
But yeah, no, he's great, and yeah, great movie, really fun. Takes a bit of a darker turn. Great action sequences, crazy ending, terrifying werewolf. That werewolf transformation, fucking horrifying.
That is very, very horrifying. Lupin. What was it? Remus?
Rupin.
I didn't say Rupin. I said Lupin.
Please, Thulis, control yourself.
Thulis, have you taken your medicine tonight?
Harry Potter 4 and the Goblet of Fire. Also, yeah, this episode is going to be, kind of disastrous, but it's what you'd expect. I mean, we're not going over themes and characters and stuff. We're just kind of going like, remember that part where then Thulis. Harry Potter 4. This one I remember as the worst hair Harry Potter. He looks like someone cut his hair with a bowl over his head, as does Ron. Have you seen Ron's hair in this movie? It's disturbing. It's horrifying.
I haven't seen this movie. I don't know.
It's awful. It's. I mean, I get they're going through puberty and stuff, and like you have like weird hairstyles.
I get that it's a phase, Mom, but
I mean, you did send me a video the other day of us from like 5 years ago, and my hair was truly disastrous.
It's pretty much the same.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, but it is. I mean, I like this movie. It's not my favorite, but it definitely has... This is the one where they have the Triwizard Cup, where, again, in the theme of this absolute murder school, they're like, hey, we're going to do this, tournament of things, but also you could die in all of them, which is kind of epic, but also, again, Dumbledore, definitely under, great. So much investigation he should be for, child endangerment.
Well, I forget. The police don't know about him, right?
No, they do. No, it's like a sanction... It's like... Okay, I'm a little tangent here. We used to, and this is, I mean, I have to say, this is the lamest title for an event ever. I'm sorry. But we used to go to this thing with our school because we went to a Catholic school for a period of time called the Catholic Games.
The Catholic
Games. Which sounds like it's a series of Catholic-based events.
It sounds like it's like...
Who can confess the fastest?
Who eats that bread fastest and drinks the wine the fastest?
Who does the Hail Marys hard enough? Hashtag Don John. Probably offensive. I'm sorry. But
probably it's like bringing what's it called? What the knights did? The conquest. The
Crusades.
The crusade. Who can crusade the hardest?
But basically, it was just a series of sporting events, and it was just a bunch of Catholic schools that went to it. Anyway, the Triwizard Tournament is basically that, but again, if we all had assault rifles in that game, it's like, and we all had to fight bears. Which, in fairness, now that I say it out loud, sounds kind of fucking cool.
Sounds kind of fucking cool.
But
I would love to go with a bunch of guns and just fight a bear with my school.
But anyway, yeah, it's basically just a sporting event for the school, except they fight dragons, and then they have to go underwater, and then they have to go through this murderous maze, which is just... I'm sorry. Imagine putting a 14-year-old through this kind of stress and pressure. Also, I mean, this is also a big talking point. But it's like...
I've been so stressed ever since I've been in the murder maze.
It's like Dumbledore's like because Harry it's supposed to be 3 competitors and they all get announced and one of them's the Patman.
The Patman?
Yeah, the Patman's in this.
What does the Patman play?
He's Cedric Diggory, and he's like an older student, and so they all have to be older. And then it's like they've been chosen, and another thing comes out of the goblet, and it's like, wait a minute, this is Harry Potter. That's when Dumbledore's like, put your name in the goblet of fire. But they're all like,
wait, so if you put your name in the goblet of fire, do you then like, kind of like sign up for the murder maze?
Yeah, but you can't do it if you're not of age, which Harry isn't, and you aren't able to. Like, there shouldn't be another name. So it's all like, Harry, what did you do, you fucking idiot? And Harry's like, I didn't do anything. And all the teachers like, well, clearly this is an attempt to murder Harry Potter, just like all the other years he's been here. But fuck it, let's just go with it. And so he just competes.
Fuck it, I'm sure he can do it.
There's a lot of Dumbledore, like, leading Harry to the slaughter in these movies. Like, the whole point of the series is, like, Dumbledore basically raising Harry Potter to die in the end, because he's part of Voldemort's soul or whatever. And in this one, they're also like, I guess we can use him as bait to lure out the villain, so we'll just let him compete in the murder maze, because why the fuck not? But I think also this one, there's more like romance. I guess that's the next one. Ron starts having feelings. No, that's the next one. Ron doesn't have any feelings at this point.
Ron starts thinking on his own.
That never happens, honestly. Ron is such a useless sack of shit in these movies. Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry, so mean, but so true.
Poor Rupert.
I'm not saying Rupert. I'm saying Ronald Weasley, specifically. The character who I see you as in our life.
Right.
Anyway.
Useless and a sack of shit.
Do you think that you could compete? Okay, let me give you the 3 events. Tell me how well you would do. First one, take a dragon's egg from it. I mean, that's a great sequence in fairness. That's a great action scene.
How big is the dragon?
It's huge. It's what do you mean it's how big it is? It's enormous.
How big is it?
It's as big as your mother. Sorry. Classic. But it's very big.
Sorry. Got him.
It's as big as a house. Like a pretty big house. I would love it if this is Harry, like, trying to figure out, like, okay, how can I prepare outfits? And Dumbledore's like, it's like a house. It's like an average-sized house, you know? It's
like a family house that would be a little tight, but still doable.
and then you know, you save money, but, like, it's what you do.
Terrible.
And then he throws Harry into the
Dumbledore reveals his terrible alimony problems.
Like, you know, you can't pay every single bill, but, like, it is what it is. You know, you try to make it work, and maybe you're single for a bit, but eventually you'll find someone, you know, Harry? Anyway, good luck. I'll take that as a no. Then the next one, they kidnap their friends and drown them. Which is not much of a challenge. They basically do that. They kidnap their friends, and they put them underwater, and they have to go save them. And it's like,
what?
It's so
what
fucked.
Is going on?
And then they have to find their own way to breathe underwater. So one guy turns into like
I can imagine just Harry Potter seeing Ron and Hermione is absolutely about to suffocate and drown underwater. He just looks at her from the surface. Well, that's fucked, and just walks away.
I just imagine, like, they're like, okay, challenge number 2. They're all gathered in the stadium, whatever, and just Dumbledore comes out with Ron Weasley and just holds him just under the water, and that's the whole challenge.
Oh my God.
Sorry, so dark. Anyway, they do kidnap their friends, though, and they hide them underwater, but I guess they don't drown. And then they're
do
like...
the friends accept this?
I don't think so, no.
What is... So the teachers kidnap them?
Basically, I mean, maybe they can... I wouldn't consent to that, honestly. And then also, they have to figure out their own way to get underwater, so one kid turns himself into half a shark, and then, like, Harry has to take this drug that gives him gills and shit, and it's like, it's very strange.
What is going on?
And then also they are
a kid turns himself into half a shark.
Like,
so what...
It's the
what
front
half of the shark?
It's just like the middle bit, a little bit. You can see his nose, but then like the rest of him is a shark, and then he still has his feet.
He's got his head, and then his feet, and the rest is his shark body.
And then
the most useless fin and tails.
Yeah, he still can't breathe underwater, so he's just kind of flopping.
And he can't swim fast. He's still using his feet.
He just kind of floats like a dead fish. And then at the end, so one of the kids can't do it, and so they like go up to the surface. So Harry saves both the friends. They're like, you know what, Harry, you lost the race, but you saved 2 people for some fucking reason, even though it's not in the rules. So you win. Like, you're just the winner now. It's like, what the fuck do you fucking disqualify him?
What about Pattinson? What's Pattinson doing in this whole thing?
I think he creates a bubble around his face or something, which you'd think just everyone would do that instead of turning yourself into half a shark. And then the last one...
I don't know. Turning myself into half a shark is exactly how I'd go about it.
Then the murder maze, where you go through this maze and just horrible things and challenges, and the maze tries to kill you. Anyway, at the end, then Voldemort's there. Disturbing scene. They rebirth him through like a cauldron. They have a big battle, and then at the end, Pattinson dies.
Pattinson dies?
L. And then, I mean,
imagine dying in the murder maze.
It's a genuinely, like, pretty heartbreaking moment where then, I mean, it's a little bit, like, funny in a horrible way. Like, if we were watching, I think we would laugh because we're terrible. But it is, like, a genuinely, like, disturbing moment where they come, like, they're teleported back from the murder maze. And, like, everyone starts celebrating because they think they've won. But then it's just Harry with Pattinson's corpse. And it's, like, it's really fucked up because then they're all, like, cheering. And then Pattinson's dad comes on, like, starts crying. And it's really fucked up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
These movies, yeah, they get pretty dark at times. But anyway.
I imagine they only started cheering after they saw Pattinson's dead body.
After his dad started, like, screaming in pain.
Dumbledore just goes absolute apeshit.
Dumbledore, like, gives the cue to the marching band.
Dumbledore checks that only one of his students has survived. Go on.
Anyway,
it's time to celebrate.
Let's get this party started.
Fiesta!
DJ Dumbledore enters. It's
DJ Dumbledore enters.
I just like that. Like, it's just there's this quiet pause. The dad is screaming in pain and horror, and then just like Dumbledore kind of looks around awkwardly, and then just presses the party button, and just fireworks start shooting off.
It's Dumbledore. He looks down. You think there's like genuine regret in his eyes. Then he regrets that he didn't bring his backwards cap to this party.
It's a good movie. It has great like visuals and, you know, crazy stuff. It's not my favorite, but yeah. Then there's the Order of the Phoenix, where Dumbledore. That's the sound Dumbledore makes.
Harry, this movie is the fifth one. It's called the Order of the Phoenix. Takes a bite of his foot.
God, we've created such a chaotic version of Dumbledore. I don't know if the world's ready for him.
We have single-handedly ruined the character of Dumbledore.
They start, do you know who Umbridge is? The most horrible woman in all the universe. She wears like little pink suits and she like makes the school horrible. She's the worst character ever. Everyone hates her. She's from the government. She institutes all these rules and just the most hated character ever.
Let me see. Let me quickly search her up.
Umbridge. I'm pretty sure you know her. She's pretty like an iconically hated character.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
She's great. Like the actress does a great job. But yeah. There is a scene where they're having an exam and Fred and George Weasley, the Weasley boys, they do. I don't want to say like commit an act of terror, but they do like bomb the exam. They do, like, I mean, like, it's played off in the film as this very fun and whimsical, like, oh my god, they shot off fireworks in the middle of the exam and they chased the teacher out with, like, a giant firework dragon. But it's also, like, you did just blow up the entire fucking study hall. Like, that's kind of not okay. You should be in jail. Like, they just go off and start, like, a shop or something. I'm like, they should be put in Azkaban. If they start, so yeah, Harry starts a club. He's, like, just like a club just for, you know, fun party purposes.
He starts the ultimate frisbee club.
The
club. Owned by Dumbledore.
DJ Dumble in the house. He doesn't even spin any records. He just stands there awkwardly.
Here comes DJ Dummy Thick.
He somersaults into the middle of the dance floor. Does not get
Breaks both legs.
Just lays there. Is trampled by the dance. Anyway, they started a thing called Dumbledore's Army.
Oh Jesus!
They're like, you know what? Voldemort's back, and he murdered the Patman. So we gotta like start our own club because the school fucking sucks.
Was the Patman like a well-known student? Or something?
I mean, yeah, he was like friends with all of them. Also, Harry, low-key dick move, does steal the Patman's girlfriend in this movie.
But the Patman's dead, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, Harry, like, the whole movie's about him feeling, like, guilt for the Patman's death, and then he's, like, his girlfriend, she's like, oh, I miss the Patman so much, and then Harry's like, you know what we should do? Fucking make out in front of this memorial for him.
Did they actually do that?
And so he does. But yeah, this one is the one where like the more romance kind of starts. I believe this is the one where Ron gets a girlfriend and Hermione gets really jealous, and then Ron gets like love potioned. No.
By Hermione?
No, that's the next one. Anyway, we'll get to that. But this one, and then at the end they go to the Ministry of Magic, and they're like, we're going to stop this prophecy or something, and then they get in a big fight with the bad guys, and it's pretty good. Sirius dies. Bellatrix Lestrange is very good in these movies.
Is that her introduction in that one?
Bonham Carter.
Yeah, I love a bit of Helena, but when does she first make an appearance in this movie?
No, she's in the third one as well, but in this one she has kind of like some big moments. She kills Sirius, and then she's like, come kill me, Harry Potter, because I'm the bad guy, and Harry almost does it, but then Dumbledore shows up and he's like, allow me, and then he cuts it right off. Dumbledore shows up, and then him and Voldemort have a pretty epic battle, where like Dumbledore encases him in water, and then Voldemort shoots fire at him, and then there's one moment where Voldemort like shatters all the glass in the whole like ministry and then shoots it at Dumbledore. That's pretty fucking cool. And then Dumbledore turns it to sand. That's a great fucking scene, actually. That's a very good scene.
Goddamn, Dumbledore, you may be an idiot, but you can pull off some stunts.
Good movie, yeah. More again, just like I just think all these films are good. Like I don't really have much to say on in this forum particularly. Like they continue their like growing up, and they develop the world, and you know, they balance this like fun and mostly towards the end dark adventure with also just like kind of their everyday life of going to school and that kind of thing. It's just it's a good time. Then the sixth one, the Half-Blood Prince.
When does Dumbledore die? Is it not in this?
It's the Half-Blood Prince.
Ah, okay.
So Snape does murder Dumbledore because Draco Malfoy was supposed to. Pretty good performance as well from Draco, I guess. Yeah, so he's supposed to do it, but then he can't do it because, you know, he's too scared or whatever, and then Snape is like, allow me, and Dumbledore's like, please do it, Snape.
But why do they murder Dummy Thickledore?
Why do they myrtle Dummy Thickador? Because they have to make sure that the bad guys think Snape is one of them, so the ultimate plan can be...
is to murder Dumbledore. Why?
I don't fucking remember. I'm sorry. I don't know. But, you know.
It's fair.
Oh, there is also a great part in the previous movie where the government comes to take Dumbledore, which is...
What?
They like, because they're like, they find Dumbledore's army, and they're like, well, clearly Dumbledore's planning a revolution or something. And even though he has nothing to do with it, Dumbledore takes the fall. He's like, yes, I was going to overthrow the government. And they're like, all right, come with us into custody. He's like, fuck you. And then his phoenix flies over him, and he does like a clap, and then he evaporates into fire. He just burns to death. He then disappears.
What an absolute alpha move. Fuck you. Bursts into flames and gets horrible burns.
10-minute Dumbledore screaming. And then like one of the government guys is like, you may not like him, but he's got style. Anyway, in the sixth one, more romance stuff. This is the one where Ron gets love potioned, which also almost... it's a poisoned love potion, and then it almost kills him. Pretty dark shit.
Okay.
It does also feature Horace Slughorn. They have interesting names in this world, don't they?
Who is Horace Slughorn?
He reminds me so much of a teacher we had who, I won't say his name, but he did walk with a cane. And I'll put it like that.
He did walk with a...
He is exactly the same as that. Just picture that guy, but in this movie. Just like an older... British, slightly confused gentleman who is
There's not been a better description for our old teacher than that.
And then Harry finds this book that was written by the Half-Blood Prince. It's like a textbook where then it says all these like secret keys to making good potions, and turns out, big spoiler, the Half-Blood Prince was Snape all along. Boom.
Ooh.
He does also find...
What is Half-Blood about Snape? Like, what's
his mom was a wizard and his dad wasn't, or something.
I see.
Harry does also... He finds in that book like a spell that's like... It says like, to use for people you don't like. And then he hits Draco Malfoy with it, and it like cuts him 1,000 times, and he's like bleeding out on the floor. And I'm like, Harry, why the fuck would you try a random spell that you just read in a book for the first time on a fellow student? It's like, Harry, that could have like been a spell that like
ended Draco's life.
That like blows up the school or something. I don't know. Like you couldn't. I don't know. He's like,
it could have been a Fred and George Weasley moment,
which apparently goes unpunished, and you get to open a joke shop. Yeah, and I'm just like, Harry, that is also, Harry faces like no repercussions for like basically murdering a student. Like, I mean,
but it's Draco, right? So no one likes him.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still part of the school. You can't just do that. He also takes a luck potion at one point, which like yeah, he just goes around like everything's kind of working out for him. And then they go to like a giant spider funeral. I haven't seen this movie in a while. It's a bit of a strange one.
It sounds like just a dream you had. He takes a luck potion, then everything's working out. Then they go to a spider funeral, and then he almost blows up the school.
Oh yeah, and in the end they're like, we should get out of Hogwarts because this place like this isn't the vibe. And then they like peace out. The vibe. So yeah, good movie, good stuff. Then 7 Part 1, they hide in the forest. That's the whole movie.
Is the Deathly Hallows, is it?
Yeah, I do not like this movie, even though it's probably good, but it scared the shit out of me as a kid. There's one part where they go to this old woman's house, and they're like, we're here to see you about Voldemort or something, and then it turns out the old woman is a snake, and it's pretty scary. Oh. They find the old woman's like corpse in a closet, and then the snake jumps out of them. A lot of jump scares in that movie. There is one...
It's like a reverse Loki on Thor moment.
It is, but like much more violent and horrible. There is one great scene where they do go to the Ministry of Magic, like disguised as people, and they have to go through a toilet. It's pretty good. And then he comes across his arch enemy, Dolores Umbridge again, and he brings back like an epic meme. Not an epic meme, but like, cause she... and then
he brings out a hashtag funny.
Like, because she made him write on his own hand, like, I must not tell lies, like, scarred into his own hand, which, by the way, again, child abuse, not allowed. Like, you can't just...
not great.
Force, but then she was like, tell everyone I'm great. And he's like, I must not tell lies. And it's like, oh, get fucked.
Oh,
it's pretty good.
Go.
And yeah, and then they run through the forest for a bit. And then him and Ron have a falling out. They're kind of bickering in the woods because Ron has like an evil necklace and it's making him evil and like sad.
Ron's got an evil necklace.
They have to. It's kind of like the ring, like from Lord of the Rings. They have to carry it around, and they're like, Ron, it's making you a dickhead. And he's like,
it kind of like corrupts him a little bit. Yeah. But he has to carry it around. So like.
And then he runs away, and then he gets. This was the weirdest thing, especially for films that have like fun, high school, growing up, having crushes and stuff. And then suddenly Ron sees a vision of Harry and Hermione having steamy sex. And it's like
actual sex?
Well, they don't show it like fully. Like they show them like romantically together, and Ron, obviously not a big fan of that. And then they swim to the bottom of Cold Lake. There's a part where Hermione and Harry dance. It's kind of nice, I guess. And then they dance with no pants in Ron's imagination. And then at the end, Dobby dies and he gets stabbed, and it's pretty sad.
Oh, lol.
And then finally...
Dobby loves Mr. Potter. Oh, Dobby's dead. I do not like Dobby.
That was a very beautiful paying tribute to one of your favorite characters, clearly. And then the last one, last one's epic. It's really great. It's just like basically a big epic battle for the end of it. And it's just it's a very satisfying conclusion to like the whole build-up. Like it's just this... Because you've seen them go through school, and then like it's kind of went away from that, and now it's just like they're in the school still, like where they had all these memories, but now it's like just crazy battle and all this, all this shit culminating, and emotionally everything culminates with Snape, with Voldemort. The whole story comes to a head. Even like side characters like Neville get their moment. It's full of there's a big bank heist at the start that's great. Epic movie, very not one that like I watch very often, but it's one for like a sort of like. It's a big occasion, It's like an Endgame style, just really, really satisfying final culmination. And there's a scene at the end where they're all old, and it looks really bad, and it looks like they're just in old makeup, and it's like, why would you do this?
Oh, yeah, I do. So, tell me, and you can spoil, what happens in like the end? Does Voldemort die? Does Harry die?
So it turns out Harry has a piece of Voldemort's soul in him, and they've always been connected because Voldemort did this thing where every time you kill someone, your soul splits into another piece or whatever. Or not every time, but whatever, sometimes. And then so there's a piece of Voldemort in Harry, so Harry has to die for Voldemort to die. So Voldemort kills Harry, and then he goes to a magic train station in heaven where low-key Dumbledore shows up, and he's like, yo. And they see a little fetus Voldemort, and Dumbledore's like, that's fucking weird. And then he's like, you know what, Harry, you can take the train to death, or you can go back downstairs and keep living. And Harry's like, well, obviously I want to keep living. And so he goes back down, and then he kills Voldemort.
And then he kills Voldemort. I see.
So the last two movies are largely about finding all these pieces of Voldemort's soul and destroying them, so they can finally kill. It's kind of like a boss where you have to like kill a bunch of little parts of him and then finally get to the...
A bunch of like little side quests, and then you get to the main one.
Yeah. So and then Voldemort disintegrates into little pieces, and and then they're all like kind of happy-ish, except everyone died, including Fred, who, if you ask me, got what he deserved. No, sorry, it's a very sad moment.
I hear that there's a job opening at the joke store.
Also, yeah, a lot of death in these movies for kids' movies. Like, so much death. Thulis dies, I think.
Thulis?
Hedwig, that owl, dies. Hagrid stays alive.
Disappointingly so.
But yeah. Anyway, the Harry Potter films, excellent movies. One of some
very
favorites.
in-depth review we've done here.
Yep, totally. Also, they're the Fantastic Beasts ones, but whatever. Beasticles. First one's okay, second one's bad.
Yeah, we've talked about them a lot more in the actual Harry Potter movies. So
yeah, we'll see how the third one goes. I'm kind of excited. But
yeah, I'll watch it.
And just because we're going to title this Harry Potter movies ranked, let's not forget that this time. I'm going to rank them from best to worst. I'm going to say number 3, number 8, number 1. Oh god, this is so much more complicated than I thought it would be. Number 5, number 4, number 6, number 2, number 7. I'm pretty sure that was all of them. And then Fantastical Beasticles is a separate thing. How would you rank the 3 that you've seen?
I probably rank The Prisoner of Azkaban as number 1. Then we'll go second one as number 2. We'll go first one, number 2, and then the second one will be the third, just because the second one, I don't really remember what happens in it.
Fair.
Apart from Dobby showing up being a little bitch. Was that in the third one?
No, that's the second one.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, good stuff. Now it is time for...
The Cnews.
So, because we're recording this so far in advance, we don't have exactly a fresh piece of Cnews, so maybe something crazy happened this week. But we do have something emailed in, so I think it's a good time to do that. ZJ13Goat sent us a Twitter account we may be interested in, and it is in fact Cnews62, where they report Tom Cruise news on Twitter. So maybe we should start frequenting that site.
I think we might have to go back on Twitter and looking at that only.
And I also enjoyed, because I checked it out, and at the time of checking it out, the first thing that I saw was a picture of Tom Cruise on set for Mission Impossible wearing like a t-shirt or whatever. You know, not looking too shabby. And the caption just said, "Just look at those arms." I was like, all right. You're supposed to report...
Is this a Tom Cruise news?
I thought this was a Tom Cruise news page, but this is clearly a Tom Cruise...
thirst trap.
But it is what it is. But yeah, so...
Hot new take. Tom Cruise is built.
Anyway, so that was a Tom Cruise for this week. And now for the announcements and such, we actually... Because this week's pod hasn't gone up, we don't have any comments as of yet, so let's check the fan page real quick. Also...
Well, we can record a little cheeky announcements later if you want, since it's so early.
But you'll be in Spain.
Or do you want to just do... True. I mean, we can go back to our ways of a phone recording if you want, or should we just do it now?
I think we should just do it now.
Fair.
We also, by the way, shout out to Cian for helping me understand Letterboxd, because I have not been using it because I don't really get it. I mean, I don't not get it, but I was like, I don't really know how to do the different things here, and Cian did send me like a...
I mean, it's not like I don't get it, but I just don't understand a thing that's going on. Okay.
But Cian did send me like a little... helpful thing about how to use Letterboxd, which was nice. And also, GC Green sent in the Tyrese Morbius tweet thing that we talked about last week. So thank you for that. But then on the fan page, we have Morbius sequel titles. Oh, wait, we already did this.
Yeah.
Oh, so, yeah. Sorry. Okay, there are basically going to be no announcements this week because we are recording this early. But next week, best believe, we'll have so many announcements. We'll have so many newses, so many mini reviews, and maybe even a topic. Ooh. Who even knows these days?
Who knows?
So...
Damn.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. And also, hopefully, we can talk about Fantastical Beasticles 3 next time.
Yes. When is it? It's coming out?
Next week. April 16th,
Next week.
So, I'll be in Denmark. I might see it in Lyngby, you know.
Oh, you wouldn't go back to the old Woody place.
I might just have to do it.
Oh, amazing.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed this, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button. Comment your thoughts on the Harry Potter movies down below. And also tell your friends about the pod, please. And if you're listening, if you're on YouTube, we're also on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Please leave a 5-star rating and hit that follow button. You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson, Instagram, Twitter, BHL_Hudson. You can email the pod at bhlhudsonvids@gmail.com.
You can find me on Twitter at FDK_Sniper. You can find me on Instagram at Fidalgard, and you can find me on YouTube at FDK Space Gaming.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
DJ Dumbledore.